Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon. I'm once again joined by someone who probably popped when Seth Rollins got arrested. Mike, say hi, Mike.
I popped more for the return of the sea of hooded men or masked
Oh.
men.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they're going with Seth Rollins.
I don't know either.
I mean, I would assume they're waiting for Braun Breaker to come back.
Yeah.
And he'll feud with him, but for now he's just like a summoner of masked men. That's what he is.
Wherever he walks, hooded men go with him.
I just find it funny that people were complaining about the masked men, and then Triple H was like, "Oh, you're complaining about the masked men? Well,
here's some more.
How about this business? How about this business?" And then, yeah,
he took it personally. He took it personally. Well, that is just one of the many, many things that's happening on this fantastic WrestleMania that we're going to have next month. And along with that, we also have a couple other things. You know, we got Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, I should say, not Braun Breaker. And we also have Becky versus AJ to look forward to, I suppose. So, you know, great WrestleMania this year, I suppose. Is it better than last year? Debatable, but you know, we are on the road to this year's Mania. But yeah, does it feel like WrestleMania? Well, I don't know. I'm probably hinging on a no, but you know, it is what it is, and the only thing we can do here on this show is to try to predict and book what happens on the next episode of Monday Night Raw as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania, along with our predictions and bookings, and we do them according to these rules. And after that, after we tell you what we think will happen on the next episode via our beginning to end booking of the show, we also are going to watch the next episode as it airs, and we will score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And then we will tell you what we got on the next episode of this show. So, points. I have 15, I think. Most of them is just appearances from a bunch of main eventers and mid-carders. You know, we got we have Punk, Liv, LA Knight, Finn Balor, Kofi, Becky, AJ Lee, and Penta. I also predicted Grayson versus Javon correctly, including who won. And yeah, that is that right there. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I had 10 points. I got a lot of my points across the board. I got the Kabuki Warriors versus Lyra and Bayley correct. I had Javon Evans and I had Javon Evans in a match against a member of the New Day. I had them in the New Day, but I'm counting Grayson Waller as a member of the New Day. I had Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. I had Penta in a fight. I also had appearances from Dominic and Finn Balor. And that is about it because Brock Lesnar and the Usos were, and the Usos in the division were booked for this show. So
that is
also
that is
Roman
correct.
and Punk were also booked for this show.
Yeah, thanks for spoiling the next session, my guy. So what is announced? Yes, along with all of those, we have a lot. Brock Lesnar.
I just realized that like 4 out of 5 of the things here were booked for the last show as well, or two of the 4 things here are booked for the for the last show as well.
This is a straight up copy paste Control C Control V booking here from Triple H, a master stroke, if I do say so myself. But we shall continue. We got Brock Lesnar announced We got Lyra and Bayley taking on the Irresistible Forces for the Women's Tag Team Championship. We also have Io Sky taking on Raquel Rodriguez, and the Usos taking on Logan Paul and Austin Theory again for the World Tag Team Championship in a street fight. So without further ado, let's book this thing. Get to my version of the show first as Brock Lesnar heads to the ring in Madison Square Garden. Paul Heyman comes out with Brock Lesnar. He's frustrated that Oba Femi has outclassed and outfoxed Brock Lesnar last week. Says that Oba can do anything he wants to Brock, but it won't matter. Because at WrestleMania, Oba will go down in 10 seconds with an F5 and a count of 3. And after the match, Brock will F5 him again and again. And he will disappoint each and every one of you in the arena, just like he did when he beat The Undertaker's streak. The lights go out. Oba Femi comes out to confront Brock again, and the two have a brawl around the ring that ends in Brock trying to F5 Oba, but Oba suplexes him into a table or something. I think this is just an extension of what happened the previous weeks, where Oba seems to outclass or outfox Brock in any way. We have Oba leaving while Paul Heyman is ambushed by the army of hooded men. They are upset that their leader, Seth Rollins, was arrested by the Boston PD last week. So I'm guessing this is retribution. He is, however, saved by the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, who get him to the back as they talk about their situation with the Usos, because they have a tag team championship match later tonight against them in a street fight. I hope Oba wins against Brock. It seems like they're booking Oba strong because maybe at WrestleMania, Brock is going to win against Oba, which is kind of sucks, but whatever. I do hope that Oba wins, and this is just a way to make him look strong and just a legend. And they hope that Oba, resonates with the audience, which I think it is. So there you go. We'll move on from that to Javon Evans taking on Xavier Woods, because Javon Evans has been on a crusade against the New Day recently. This is sort of the finishing touches on that feud. Javon wins by pinfall, and Danhausen probably curses the New Day before the match. After the match, the New Day get frustrated. They start beating up Javon altogether, and they all leave the ring. I think this leads to a match on the next episode between, or the episode after this, between Javon and a partner of his choosing versus the New Day. On the episode after this, as I said previously, it'll probably be Danhausen. Danhausen probably first time getting in the ring, but he is part of this feud, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets integrated in terms of in-ring. Or it could be someone else and Danhausen just curses the New Day again. I don't know. But I guess that's what we're doing with Javon now. We're putting him up against a dead tag team. So there you go. Finn Balor comes out next. He talks about the Penta versus Dom Intercontinental Championship match last week and why he intervened. He says that when he was at the Judgment Day, it was a family. When Liv went away, however, things changed. Dom and JD and the rest of the crew abandoned Finn, or he felt like they abandoned him. And as a result, Finn had to go on a self-discovery journey. He realized that when he lost against Punk, he felt that it was because he had lost his family, and so he had to go and tell Dom how he really feels about him. And his plan for Mania is to ruin the Judgment Day's chances of winning anything, even if it means losing his life. He's interrupted by Dom and JD of the Judgment Day, who are furious that Finn would do such a thing as intervening in his business. He says that Finn was a brother and family to him, but sometimes there's this thing called priority, where one man in the group is focused on much more than the other, and the Intercontinental and Women's Championship were priorities for the group. And who cares about Finn, I guess, is the whole thing about that. Dom was hurt regarding Finn's remarks on him a couple weeks ago and what he did. He wants him to apologize. Finn counters by challenging Dom to a match at Mania. Dom says, "I'll think about it." And the rest of the Judgment Day, along with Dom, beat him up. I think that if Gunther is not going to have a match at WrestleMania, then I think that Finn versus Dom could also be a pretty good mid-card match at WrestleMania. You know, you already know the story. The Judgment Day is still there. And I think that this will kind of help Finn Balor, kind of sell Finn Balor as a single star here. And putting him up against Dom here could help his chances in revitalizing his career, maybe. I don't know. But I think this is just another step in the Judgment Day story. And might as well put them in WrestleMania because they are probably one of the top factions over there, if not the only faction there. So, yeah. Next, women's tag title match as Lyra and Bayley take on the Irresistible Forces. So, seeing as how the next tag team contenders are the Bella Twins, I am predicting that Lyra and Bayley will win this match by pinfall so that we can get the face-heel dynamic. I think the Bella Twins are heels, so we need to get a face team against them. And I think that Lyra and Bayley are the better opponents for the Bella Twins. Plus, Lyra and Bayley are bigger names than Nia and Lash. I also think that it will make the match at Mania that much better because, not sure if you notice, but Nia and Lash tend to botch. But anyway, after the match, we have the Bella Twins come out to confront Lyra and Bayley, and a brawl erupts as both teams fight around the ring. With the heels on top, as Lyra and Bayley retain at Mania, I think if this match is to happen at WrestleMania, I think that Lyra and Bayley kind of retain here. So, yeah, I predict this title changes hands, and Lyra and Bayley retain against the Bella Twins. So, unless the Bella Twins get it, in which case, holy crap, this division is going to suck. So, there you go. Next, AJ Lee comes out. She talks about what Becky said last week about retiring her in a match at WrestleMania last week. She says that it won't happen because she is the best women's Intercontinental Champion. It is not just her saying it. She is then interrupted by Becky Lynch, who tells her to stop stealing her catchphrase and to say that she's tired of having to fight her over and over again. And AJ Lee getting into Becky's business. So at WrestleMania, their match isn't just going to be a one-on-one match, but a title versus career match. If AJ wins, Becky Lynch will be out of the WWE or Raw, whichever one. But if Becky wins, she gets the Intercontinental Championship and AJ Lee will be banished from the company. And Becky will once again get what she rightfully deserves as she stays planting the flag for the future and ignoring the past. AJ thinks about it. She thinks about the repercussions and she accepts. She's in for the fight of her life. And she will fight with every last breath until she, retains that championship. Becky nods. She does a sneak attack on AJ Lee before leaving the ring. And I think, as a feud ender, I think Becky takes this one at Mania, no matter what the stipulation is. Again, I picked title versus career because it kind of heightens the stakes, and it also, gives an opening for AJ Lee to be a part-timer or go into SmackDown after the match. So, there you go. I'm pretty sure the SmackDown Women's Division still needs some more women to get that division up and going, and I think AJ Lee could be the one to sort of do that instead of mumbling around on Raw and talking about Becky Lynch. So, next, Io Sky takes on Raquel Rodriguez. I will have Io Sky win due to an intervention from Stephanie Vaquer on Liv Morgan, who accompanies Raquel in the match. After the match, the two go on a backstage brawl where Stephanie is on top, as I think Liv Morgan wins it back at WrestleMania, while Io is attacked from out of nowhere by Roxanne Perez, which sets up their match on the episode after this. So it'll be Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez on the episode after this, and we'll have Stephanie and Liv brawl once again. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Io Sky here as we go onto this feud, but I think she's the sort of equalizer to help Stephanie take care of the Judgment Day while Stephanie focuses on Liv. So I guess that's what we're doing with Io Sky. So main event time as Usos take on Division in a street fight for the World Tag Team Championship. I will have Division win by pinfall due to a distraction from LA Knight that backfires on the Usos. After the match, LA Knight tries to attack Division by himself, but he's got no help, and Division just gets him out of the ring entirely. He gets laid out by Division. Division leaves the ring. Afterwards, the Usos get up. They go to LA Knight in the ring. They argue with him about what happened. Now, there is some teasing going on with LA Knight in that there was a picture of The Rock in the truck. So it could be possible that The Rock might interfere in this sort of Usos and Roman Reigns and CM Punk, that whole deal. I think maybe. Again, it's just speculation, but there was a picture of The Rock in a truck while the Usos were talking to LA Knight. And again, there seems to be some sort of tension between LA Knight and the Usos. So I will play up on that as Jimmy pushes LA Knight away by the end of their argument. But Jey Uso, kind of incensed, he's on a warpath, as Jimmy said last week. He attacks LA Knight. Jimmy tries to push Jey away, and he blames it on his head not being in the right place because of him being more focused on Roman and Punk and what Punk said about their dad, or I guess Roman's dad. The Usos leave the ring as LA Knight lays there. He gets carried out on a stretcher as the show goes off the air. So I know I'm kind of burying LA Knight here in this segment, but I think that this will lead to LA Knight returning at WrestleMania and costing the Usos, or maybe intervening in Roman versus Punk. It will set up LA Knight and a partner of his choosing, taking on the Usos at Backlash. It could be CM Punk, or it could be someone from NXT. And I'm pretty sure that LA Knight is probably going to contribute to this whole Vision and Roman's faction kind of deal and all that stuff. So he will remain a secondary player. Unfortunately, I don't think he will ever grasp the top of the mountain. But he is going to be a pivotal player in a couple of these faction, I guess, storylines moving forward. So quite unfortunate, but I guess he is playing his role as of now. So, any questions?
All right, I got a few. Number one. Yeah. So it's been rumored that Rey Mysterio is dealing with some sort of injury. What do you feel is Gunther's plan at Mania? Because right now, it seems like he doesn't have anyone to fight. I've heard a lot of suggestions, some of which I like, some of which I agree with, but I just want to get your take on who you think he's going to be and who he ends up fighting.
Dragon Lee? I mean, it has to be a luchador, right? So I think the progression of Gunther laying out a bunch of luchadors, I think in that case, either another rematch with Dragon Lee in a sort of, I don't know, mask versus career match or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe he fights another luchador like El Grande Americano or something. Something like that. Or he lays out an open challenge, kind of like what Randy did last year, where he's like, I got no one to fight at WrestleMania because Rey Mysterio is injured. He's a bit of a coward to come face me, so I need someone, and I don't know, maybe Joe Hendry comes out or some shit. I know, it's a bit of a waste of a Gunther spot, but I think Gunther will be at WrestleMania. I think he is a big name. I think Triple H trusts Gunther, and I think that Gunther is being pushed still, even if they have no plans for Gunther. I think they have plans for him, and I think they still want to continue Gunther laying out luchadors, that storyline. So I think that Gunther is going to be there. It's either going to be a luchador or a high flyer of some sort that is not in any kind of storyline right now. It could be a rematch with Dragon Lee. That's what I'm thinking right now. or it could be an open challenge. So yeah.
Do you want to hear my take now, or do you want to wait?
Do you have Gunther booked for this? I know this is kind of pushing on your card, but
I do not. I do not have Gunther booked for this show. So my prediction is that within the next couple of weeks, they announce Gunther for a show. I've by the way, this is not my original thinking. I've seen this in multiple locations. I think he comes out and he issues an open challenge for WrestleMania, but not just an open challenge. He issues a Legends Open challenge, meaning that it has to be someone who is considered a legend, and he basically says you can come out and I'll do to you what I did to John Cena and what I did to AJ Styles. Is I'll end your career and you can go out getting a payday at WrestleMania and I'll end another career. And I think what happens is at Mania you get the very long-awaited return of Chris Jericho, who ends up defeating Gunther at Mania. But it could also be someone else. Could be Rob Van Dam. It could be, I don't know, Buff Bagwell with his prosthetic leg. I mean, who knows? So
I don't think he'll be buff, man. The guy needs to recover. His walk is a little bit strange still.
It's a little stiff. He does still sound the same though. He sounds exactly the same. That was pretty cool to see him on TNA.
Yeah,
I love me some Buff Daddy.
Yeah. Now there could be the possibility that Gunther can, and I don't know if they would do this. Probably go up against a YouTuber. I mean, Logan Paul did it. I mean, Jelly Roll also has a match, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Gunther gets put in a celebrity match or something like that, or a bit of an exhibition match as well. I don't know. It kind of seems to me that their plan for Gunther was Rey Mysterio, and when Rey Mysterio is laid out, they're like, well, I don't know. I guess no plan, right? That's what I'm leaning. I think Gunther should be there at Mania. Yeah. What?
Is this because I sent you that meme that of I Show Speed Open Challenge at WrestleMania? There's this like I sent you this image that looks like a legitimate Mania poster, and it's like I Show Speed versus Gunther I Show Speed Open Challenge. That would be kind of funny though, just to watch him get like planted through a table within 30 seconds. Yeah, but
again,
that'd be a very much a waste of a Gunther spot. So
yeah, or Gunther versus KSI. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's either Gunther has no plan or Gunther is at WrestleMania and he gets an open challenge. That's what I'm leaning on. So. Anyway, any other questions?
So I also saw on the internets that it is rumored that Nikki Bella may be injured.
What?
So yes, I don't actually know what she had for an injury. Let me check.
Is this for real?
I'm pretty sure.
What should be another boob injury? For God's sake.
She broke her tip. She broke her left tip. Yeah, funny.
God damn it.
Let me see. It said there might be a leg injury, like a minor leg injury. Mainly because they had to cut away from her when she was on the ground being checked on by the ref. So
okay.
So that right now is just speculation, and I think them booking, or I mean, this was I think already booked before they knew if she was injured or not. But I think that Lyra and Bayley would probably be the stand-in replacement for the Bella Twins at Mania.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah. In that case, then I guess you could have Irresistible Forces retain via disqualification, and then we'll have this match at Mania. If that's the case, if the injury is true. But I think that if the injury is not severe, I think they will still have the Bella Twins wrestle, although in a limited capacity. And then they would, get the titles to Lyra and Bayley. So either way, I think the end point should be Lyra and Bayley as tag team champions. Because I think that they are a good tag team. I think they work well in the ring. And, I think they can hold out for a couple of months against these other tag teams while the Bella Twins recover and a couple other teams just try to get there. I suppose you have the Judgment Day. You also have a couple teams in NXT or who are heels, right? So yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Lyra and Bayley just getting those titles, holding it for a while. All right. Any other questions before we move on to your card?
No, I'm ready for my card. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's move on to your card then. Starting off with,
we have a CM Punk promo. The Unk comes out himself. He goes on about how Roman needs his cousins to do his dirty work again, and how the Usos are playing second fiddle to Roman yet again, and Roman can't face him man to man without help from his infinite supply of Samoans that he has. Jey Uso again comes out in a huff to confront CM Punk. CM Punk, much like last week, offers him another fight. They have a little bit of a scrap, but Jimmy is able to separate them. And then Roman comes out, like the alcoholic stepdad who is now breaking up his children from fighting. Roman then tells Jey to go to the back because this is not about him, and to stay out of his business. Jey reluctantly obliges. On the way back, CM Punk again antagonizes Jey, calls him a lackey again. Then he begins to go off on Roman, but then Jey runs back into the ring and attacks CM Punk before walking away. So, okay. I think that Roman is being slotted in as the heel in this match because he puts Punk through a table last week. It's a clear sign of him being a heel, and I suspect that Jey probably also turns heel to align himself with Roman. And I think they're gonna do like a inverse of what happened last year with Jey and Jimmy, where Jimmy was siding with Roman and Jey was doing his own thing. Now where Jey is siding with Roman and Jimmy is kind of like, I mean, man, we can just do our own thing. Like, why are you out here, following Roman again? So I can see that happening. Not entirely confident of that though, but I think they're teasing a Jey heel turn with all this business he's got going on.
Okay. So I guess the question is, with the segment last week of Jey Uso telling Roman what to do, and basically telling him to attack CM Punk, and Roman did. Do you think they're building up Jey Uso as the next tribal chief? Or is this just a case of, Roman trusts Jey, and he's just, doing stuff on behalf of Jey? Like, could you see Jey sort of taking control of the situation, I guess? At some point, and kind of...
I don't know. I mean, they already kind of did that whole thing where I think they had a match for the Ula Fala like a year and a half ago between Jey and Roman. So I personally think they reform, not the bloodline, but like not officially anyway, but they reform like a faction kind of thing where it's just Roman, Jey, and Jimmy back together. So I think that's what happens. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Well, we'll definitely see how that plays out, I suppose, as we head to Roman versus Punk. But for now, we'll move on from that to
Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. This was announced last week. I think Raquel wins thanks to interference from a returning Roxanne Perez. Stephanie Vaquer appears after the match to help fight off Raquel and Roxanne. It is being rumored that Roxanne is returning this week, so I think this is how she gets back into this story. As far as Io, I think this is setting her up to probably feud with Liv or whoever ends up winning this fight with Liv, which probably is going to be Liv at Backlash. So, yeah.
Okay. So I think you agree that you're just having Io sort of help out with Stephanie until Rhea kind of sorts out her deal, or do you think since Rhea is going to win against Jade Cargill, I think this is what they'll have Io do, just help out Stephanie here?
Yeah, I think this is clearly them putting Io in the position to be a contender for the women's belt on Raw.
Okay.
So,
all right. Fair enough. And I think, would you have Io Sky get back the title at some point later this year?
yes, I do. I think that you could very well see this match again at like a B tier pay per view for the women's title. So
Yeah, Clash in Italy, probably. I don't know. Anyway, all right, fair enough. We'll move on from that to
we have Brock Lesnar coming out in Madison Square Garden. So Brock comes out with Paul Heyman. Heyman comes to the ring with Brock, and he says that he has a restraining order against Seth Rollins, and his name is Brock Lesnar. Obafemi then comes out as the lights go out. He walks the ring, but then he is attacked by the Vision. Obafemi is then rolled into the ring. Brock is able to pick him up and F5 Oba. And this, I think, is a case of 50-50 booking, where Brock gets over on Oba finally, but this time with the help of the Vision, so we're still keeping Oba looking absolutely monstrous. I do think that Oba goes over at WrestleMania. I think all the drama about Brock not wanting to put over Oba is kind of unfounded. I mean, I think if you look at Brock in the past, I mean, he's clearly willing to put people over. I think he's kind of picky. You know, you have to kind of earn it.
Oh yeah.
In a way, or like, look, you have to be of his caliber. I think is what his MO is. Like, he's not going to go over to Danhausen or somebody like that. So
yeah.
But I think Oba goes over.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Okay. I don't know. Where do you think this goes with Seth? I know you kind of mentioned that you kind of don't know, or I don't know, but could you see like a general direction for Seth? Do you think he kind of intervenes in Brock versus Oba, for example, or do you see him intervening in some other match at WrestleMania? Like, you mentioned Braun, right?
Yeah, I think later on, Braun gets involved. I think Seth at Mania probably gets involved in the Vision business. I don't think he gets involved with like Brock and Oba though.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll move on from that to
The Women's Tag Team Championship. This was also announced last week as well. I think that Bayley and Lyra win via disqualification or no contest, thanks to interference from Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So I actually have a question for you, Bryon. How do you want to count? Like, can we count disqualification and no contest as the same thing? How do you determine no contest and disqualification? It seems very subjective on the referee's part. Like, if I know that, you know, disqualification is like if the other team uses some underhanded tactic to win, right? Like a
yeah.
like a foreign object or someone else interferes. But then like 2 weeks ago, Charlotte and Alexa interfered and they called it a no contest. So I'm not even sure how you figure that one out.
Good question. I think that the distinction is no contest is if a person or a team interferes in a match that is not a multi-man or woman match, I guess. Disqualification is more about low blows or using a chair or some other weapon in a match that doesn't require a weapon, I guess. I guess it's a distinction, but it would be just to make it easier on us. I think it would be more convenient to put these as kind of the same thing because they are kind of the same result anyway. So yeah, I would say both of them are the same for now.
Okay. All right. All right. So I think that with the rumor again that Nikki Bella is injured, I think we're heading to a multi-team match at Mania, whether it's a ladder match, spot fest kind of deal. I think you're going to see Lyra and Bayley, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and possibly another team. You know, whether or not the Bella Twins are good to go, or if they throw in like some other random pairing of two women or something. But I definitely think it's going to be like 3 teams.
Okay.
So,
And you'll have Irresistible Forces retain at Mania?
depending on if the Bella Twins are involved, you know, if the Bella Twins are involved, I think it's a 4-team match. If they aren't, it's a 3-team match. If the Bella Twins are involved, I think they win.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the stupid choice, but you know they always make the stupid choice, Brian. So
Yeah.
if they aren't, I think the Irresistible Forces probably retain, and we have a match between them and the Bella Twins at Backlash.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. We'll move on from that too.
Penta versus Javon Evans. I think that they're going to go with another open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship because we have no creative brain whatsoever, and we're just going to copy whatever we did on SmackDown. So I think Penta wins this one via pinfall. He is attacked after the bell by the Judgment Day. Then Finn Balor comes down to the ring to help fight them off. I think they're setting up for maybe a 3-way at Mania between Penta, Dom, and Finn. I would like for this to be between Dom and Finn. That would be much better, but Penta is a draw. He's very over, and I think it would be kind of stupid to not have him at Mania, so I think we're going to go with a 3-way.
Yeah. For sure. And if this triple threat were to happen at Mania, would you still have Penta retain, or would you give it to Finn?
I would give it to Finn. After all this momentum that you put behind him, to not have Finn win would be stupid. So
Okay. All right, sounds good. We'll move on from that to
OG El Grande Americano versus I had Bravo Americano, but yeah, I guess I know they all have Americano in the name. So I think that this is starting a match feud, or sorry, a match build up between OG El Grande Americano and El Grande Americano. I'm going to call him OG EGA and EGA1. And then we'll make it easier on me and not have to say a bunch of words. So I think the OG wins this one by a pinfall against Bravo Americano. You know, this is the case where the the face fights the heels lackeys before the big pay-per-view. The other Americano and Americano number one try to interfere, but then they are taken out by Dragon Lee, who assists OG El Grande Americano. I think this is going to end up in a mask versus mask match at WrestleMania. And I honestly don't know who wins, because El Grande Americano, aka Kaiser, is apparently insanely over in AAA. And I think it'd be dumb for them to unmask him because he is a insane draw for them. So, and I think Chad Gable needs to move on to other stuff, to be honest with you. I think he lost a lot of momentum. I think Kaiser has kind of taken that from him, unfortunately. So I think that Kaiser wins at Mania, and Chad goes on to do something else.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't think this OG El Grande Americano is selling it. And El Grande Americano, I think, has been a great gimmick for Ludwig Kaiser, so it kind of helped him. I don't think it'll help Chad Gable. So, yeah, I think this rivalry between them should be wrapped up with the new one winning, and not the OG one. But I guess we'll see, I suppose. But we'll move on to the main event, which is
the Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus the Vision. This was also announced last week. I think the Vision win this one thanks to a returning Braun Breaker. So it's been rumored that Braun should be good to go at Mania. It looks like he's trending that direction. So I think that they might have him interfere here, so they kind of build him back into it without having him do too much. I think what happens in this match is LA Knight tries to help out the Usos again, but he is taken out by Brock Lesnar, who comes down at the orders of Paul Heyman. And then the Usos get the upper hand, but then Braun Breaker comes out of nowhere, spears one of them. The Vision are able to take the win. And then Seth comes out after and drives away Braun and the others as the show goes off the air. So.
Okay, so are you predicting a 6-man tag in terms of Division versus the Usos at Mania? Just to kind of supplement Punk versus Roman, or is this going to be... Yeah.
I think if Braun Breaker is good to go at Mania, I think that maybe you have you have this match again at Mania, the Vision versus the Usos. I think that you have maybe Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Where does this leave LA Knight? That is a great question. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, he's really in this awkward spot where he doesn't have like a big role in any feud, nor does he have like any big rivals right now. And anyone he would be feuding with is either injured or already in another feud. So I really don't know what happens to him. I would like to see him at Mania, but I really don't know where the hell he gets involved. So
yeah. Well, I also would agree if Braun does come back, Seth versus Braun would be an ideal kind of scenario. And as you said, Braun could help out with Seth and LA Knight kind of trying to tip things in their favor, right? So, but then again, I think it'll definitely hinge on Bronson Reed as well coming back. Again, these two injuries are just fatal for the planning of this Vision storyline right now. But yeah, I do think that if Braun were to come back, Braun versus Seth would be a great match between them for Mania, and then you can have the Usos and LA Knight taking on Division as well, maybe, or have it be a separate tag team match, I guess. But yeah, it all kind of depends on Braun. And if Braun doesn't come back, then Yeah, it's going to be an interesting sort of turn of events for Division storyline. But yeah, I guess that's all we got. That's about it. However, I did forget something. Unless you want to do this on SmackDown, Mike, the Golden Jobber for March. Do you have a Golden Jobber for March, Mike, or do you want to reserve it
I
for
do.
SmackDown?
It's up to you. You're the host of the show. If you want to prepare a graphic for SmackDown, we can do that. Or I have it ready if you want to do it now. It's up
All
to
right.
you.
Well, let's do it now. All right. What is your
So,
Golden Jobber for March?
so my golden jobber for March is not anyone on the main roster. It's actually you, the fans. Not you, Bryan, in particular, but everybody. Um, Whether
Okay.
it is paying $16,000 for a entrance seat at Mania, so you can get a commemorative folding chair, or paying $10,000 to go on a bus ride with Cody Rhodes, or paying another, roughly a couple of $1,000s to go to go into a pasta making class
Yeah. What the
in Italy. With,
How does
who is it? Stephanie Becker?
that?
She isn't even Italian. She's Spanish. It's the wrong kind of Latin speaking person. Um, who was it with? Was it with Becker? I forget.
Is
I
it?
saw it very briefly.
I'm not sure.
Let me look
Also,
it up.
how does this have anything to do with Las Vegas or gambling or whatever? How does that have anything to do with Las Vegas, bro? Anyway, I think it is, or it could be. Hold on. Yeah, I'm
What
not
is it?
sure.
Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know who it was, but yeah,
Hold on.
whether it's paying another couple grand to go to a pasta making class with one of these people, which would be really awkward, honestly. Um, it seems like that the pricing for this hobby of ours has gotten really out of hand, especially compared to a couple of years ago where stuff was actually really cheap if you go and look back at it, like I did. So I
Sorry.
don't know what the
A bit of a
yeah, who is
bit of
it?
an update. They don't list anyone.
Oh,
It's
okay,
just
so
a
it's
mystery.
somebody random. Maybe it's Julia. Maybe it's Julia. That'd be appropriate at least.
Yeah, that'd be
Um, or a returning.
no. Stop.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there.
You don't want Giovanni Vinci coming back? No. Okay. All right.
They will
Maybe I
never
can
bring
dream.
him back, man. That'll never happen.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the value proposition for fans has kind of taken a back seat to raking in as much fucking cash as possible. And I think that happens when you move from a company that's owned by one man who, despite all of his flaws as a human being, you have to admit he did have passion for his creation and did have good intentions, at least for the health of his company and the brand in mind. Like worst person made a great point. That is exactly who Vince McMahon is when it comes to this company. And per usual, this happens all the time when someone sells, a brand that they built up to a corporate conglomerate. The conglomerate doesn't have any association to I guess, the soul of the brand in some cases, even though Triple H, and The Rock are kind of involved and they have, they've been through that business and they kind of, they still have investment. What I'm trying to say here is that it typically gets more corporatized and it gets more, profit driven, right? Which is valid for a business that is in it to make money. But it just seems like we're edging towards these pay-per-views being a premium experience for people who can afford it, and not being a show that your average hardcore fan can go to and enjoy, which kind of sucks actually from a viewing perspective, because if you go back even a couple years ago and you go back and look at like the pops from like Steve Austin returning, It's nuts, man. People are like throwing food and shit in the stands. Like it's crazy. People go off the hinge, and now like you have people, returning at the Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and it's quiet bewilderment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah, the whole ticket price situation and all these packages, all these WrestleMania kind of bundles, I guess, with the tickets and stuff like that. I think this is just, and with the booking not being as great as the past couple of years, it just adds to the problem.
I mean, the injuries, I can kind of give them credit. Like, I can give them a little bit of leeway on the injuries, right? Having your main heel faction on Raw being injured is, like, the entire faction being injured is not, the best thing to work with. But still, apparently, though, the bus is sold out. So a bunch of people paid $10,000 to go talk with Cody for 20 minutes. So.
Nice. Hey, at least they get to see the inside of the bus, all right? So, when someone has a segment with Cody where Cody gets wrecked in the bus, they're like, oh my god, I was there. I was there on that bus. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, I guess that is acceptable. We are the Golden Jobbers for this month of March. I guess stay tuned for my pick as that will be unveiled on SmackDown when we talk about SmackDown. So, I guess that's it. That's all we got. As I said earlier, we are going to watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw as it comes out. We will score our predictions and bookings as we do that. And we will come back here and tell you what we got and do this all over again. So, until then, thank you for ordering a pepperoni pizza called Probably Next Week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you are down for some fresh oven-baked crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.